Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am less sicker boom than last week. And you know how I said I'd be doing the Bulbasaur run unless I got distracted? Well, I got distracted. So instead, we're going to take a look at if I can beat the game Pokemon FireRed with a single Suicune. Now, I think we both know if a Pikachu run can beat the game, then one of the legendary dogs from Gen 2 will absolutely be able to beat this game. However, I'm currently on vacation. I am just now starting to feel better from whatever sickness I had, and didn't feel like doing anything too complicated, mostly for the script writing purposes. You'll probably hear me starting to feel a little bit better as time goes on because I'm going to be recording this over the course of a couple days. Anyway, we start the run with our Pokemon, and we have a Suicune with a bold nature, which increases physical defense while decreasing physical attack. This isn't a bad thing, given the fact that we typically won't be relying on physical attacks much, but the option of tanking more hits is never a bad thing. Our ability is Pressure, but given the fact that we don't typically run stall strats, it probably won't mean too much for us. The good news is, Suicune has a pretty good variety of moves when it comes to water, ice. There's some dark moves that are available, and then its stats, it's definitely more of a special attacker than a physical attacker, but given the array of its stats, it can very easily do both. We're going to go ahead and give the rival Bulbasaur, though I wanted to ask a question. Obviously, with only Bite, we're going to be winning the battle pretty quickly, so I'm taking the time now for Pokemon like this, where Venusaur is the only one doing super effective damage. Do you prefer us to set up the rival with a Pokemon that resists damage and does super effective damage, or since we have access to moves like Ice Beam, would you prefer the rival to have Blastoise at the end and have us duke it out like Yusuke and Chu in the Dark Tournament arc? Let me know, because this is something that I have been considering changing, but want to know what you all think before I pull the trigger on that. Anyway, we go ahead and knock out the beginning of the game stuff, and while I'm immediately going to be heading to the rival, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. At the time of writing this, we're only 12 subscribers away from hitting our first 1,000, and about 1,200 watch hours away from actually being monetized. If I can get monetized, I'd like to start releasing a bit more diverse content, reaction stuff, tier lists, things like that. But for now, I kind of only have time to actually release what I'm already working on. Given the fact that we have great stats out the gate, that's why we want to go ahead and go to the optional rival fight. He starts with Pidgey, and we open with Bite, taking it to around half with a crit as Sand Attack connects. We do another Bite that knocks it out. We get a level up, and then Bulbasaur is next and we miss. Thankfully, he doesn't know any super effective moves at this stage, but does end up getting back-to-back critical hits. It takes a little while, but with only 4 HP to spare, we do end up managing to take it down. After that, we go ahead and start making our way through the forest and learn Bubble Beam on the way. Good news is we can take out the Geodude out in one shot, and then do the same thing to Onix. Now that we're on the way to Cerulean, I wanted to say, hi! If we haven't met before, or you haven't watched any previous videos, I'm Brickerboom. I play Dead by Daylight, Pokemon, build Legos, and play D&D on a bi-weekly campaign where I DM. If you have any questions about D&D, feel free to drop them in the comments, or if you're extra bored and spend some time online, we have a link to the Discord below. Along the way, I take the Gnome Fossil, the only choice that matters, and we do have the option of either going to the rival or go to Misty. We resist her attacks directly and can deal super effective damage with Bite, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can beat her first. Staryu is out and we open with Bite, but it does outspeed and use Harden. Bite doesn't quite do half, and we take it to yellow as it hits with Water Pulse. Then Misty heals as we begin chipping away at its health a bit more. We do end up taking it down a few turns later. Next is Starmie, and we get hit with Swift for pretty decent damage, and we do solid damage as well. We get taken to 32 HP, confused, and smack ourselves as it hits again, but we snap out of confusion and knock it out the next turn. Not even Mewtwo could actually beat Misty first try, so I'm pretty happy with that, but I want to see how the rival goes. Pidgeotto is first, and we open up with Water Pulse, taking it to not quite half as we get hit with Tackle, then knock it out. Next up is Ivysaur, and now it's dangerous. We bite it, and it puts us to sleep. Then it gets a critical hit Vine Whip, and sets up Leech Seed. So because of all of that snowballing effect, we actually get taken down without too much of a fight. This does take a few different attempts, but we basically need to have a Sleep Powder miss, or if we get Sleep Powdered, wake up early and knock it out. About 6 attempts in, we do manage to knock it out before it completely wrecks us with Sleep Powder, and then the remaining 2 of his Pokemon aren't too much of a problem. With both major battles in the city out of the way, we're able to go ahead and clear out the bridge to the north and the trainers along the way. While we are a legendary, we're also about to be going into a battle where they're going to be doing super effective damage to us. So I don't want to over level up too much. Even with the slow level up rate, it's easy for that to happen in a solo challenge. While on the boat, we only bother clearing out the trainers with access to the things that we need. After we grab Cut, we get the trash can puzzle on the first attempt, and then we go ahead and go fight Surge. Voltorb is going to be the first in out, and we use Bubble Beam to take it down in one shot. Next out is Pikachu, and another Bubble Beam takes it out as well. Raichu is last, and definitely the only threat on his team for this particular Pokemon, and we take it to not quite half as Thunder Wave connects. Since our speed is lower, it goes first now and begins double teaming as we take it to red. Surge does end up healing up and we take it to about half. Shockwave is hitting hard for solid damage, and from there, we can finally take it down to win the badge and go on through the darkest part of the game. Going through the cave, I find myself actually getting really excited to go into Celadon City. It's been a while since I've had a Pokemon that will actually allow us to grab some moves from the game corner. Ice Beam will be incredibly useful as we go into the back half of the game, and Iron Tail will probably end up needing once or twice. After getting through the Dark Cave, we can go ahead and head to Celadon, and then make our way into the game corner, heading to the Giovanni fight first. I don't think that Erika will be too much of an issue, but might as well get some extra EXP before going into the battle that I'm not 100% sure of. Onix is first up, and we go for Bubble Beam, taking it out in one shot. Next up is Rhyhorn, and we can just repeat the process. Kangaskhan is the last of his Pokemon, and it opens with Fake Out, so next turn we can go ahead and take out about 1/3 of its health. Mega Punch connects, and we swap to Water Pulse for a bit more damage as it hits itself in Confusion, and we take it to what looks like 1 HP before it does us a favor and knocks itself out in Confusion. That honestly went about as well as I could imagine, so let's go ahead and see how we do against Erika. Victory Bell is first, and we use Ice Beam, and that takes it out in one shot. Tangela is out, and we continue with this, nailing it with a crit that I'm pretty sure wasn't needed. Last up is Vileplume, and we can take it all the way to red, and it lands a Stun Spore. We swap to Gust just for easy damage as Erika heals up. Swapping back to Ice Beam, we get hit with Giga Drain and stay paralyzed. Vileplume, unfortunately, is back to full health by now, and we take it back to red and freeze it. For whatever reason, Erika heals the freeze, but not its health. It Giga Drains again to take us to 26 HP, but we finally push past paralysis and take it down with one more Ice Beam, winning the match. Alright, I'm definitely glad that we got some levels before going there, though a crit on either side against the last Pokemon could have made this match wildly different. Overall though, Suicune is doing pretty well in the game, but at the same time it's a legendary Pokemon, so would you expect it to do poorly? Either way, I'm having fun with it, and given the fact that it's a type with a few noticeable weaknesses, it makes for a not wildly easy run. But for now, we gotta head back to Lavender Town and take a look at that rival fight. The rival starts with Pidgeotto and hits a Gust and a Quick Attack, but it goes down without too much of an issue. Ivysaur is next, and we take it down with a single Ice Beam. Gyarados is next, and an Ice Beam does solid damage as it uses Thrash. We swap to Bite, hoping for a flinch since it'll take 2 turns to go down, but we don't get it. It lands Thrash, and then we take it down. Growlithe is out, and we swap over to Bubble Beam, knocking it out. And then, last up is Kadabra, and a single Bite takes it down. When we finish the tower and start doing some traveling and witnessing some Safari Zone scramble footage, we're going to talk a little bit more about Suicune. It's legendary. The biggest advantage that it has, though, is, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, move variety. water, ice, and dark type at its disposal. Going into the later part of the game, I could see Lorelei being an issue, but other than that, I think we'll be fine. To break down each Elite Four member, like I said, Lorelei, I could see her being an issue. Bruno will have plenty of special moves to get past his bulky Pokemon. Agatha, as long as we keep Bite, which we probably will because it's the only one that'll do super effective damage, I don't think she'll be too much of an issue. Lance, we have Ice Beam, and then the Rival. Rival can be a problem, just kind of depending on how much the Venusaur wants to mess around, but I don't know. Also, now that we're in the Safari Zone, can we talk about how many Chansey we managed to encounter? I'm usually insanely lucky to find 1, but 3 total. Even though all of them still ran, that's still a lot more than I would usually find on any given day. Alright, let's go ahead and go face Koga. Coughing is first, and we open up with Ice Beam, taking it to red as it uses Smoke Screen. Koga heals up, and we Ice Beam again, taking it out with a critical hit. Muck is next, and we continue with Ice Beam, taking not very much health as it uses Return. We swap to Bite, and it continues to minimize. We flinch at next turn and then miss as Sludge connects. We do end up poisoned, but we swap over to Bubble Beam, taking it to a Sliver. But then Koga heals up, and not too long after that, we end up going down. The next attempt, we Bubble Beam and knock Coughing out in one shot. Despite the damage that Muck is dealing to us, we honestly just go ham and attack as much as we can, finally taking it down with some solid damage dealt against us. With the next Coughing, I don't know if this is what won the match necessarily, but we actually end up freezing it, and while it does get healed up, we can take it down without any extra damage to us. Then there's the Wheezing, and between its attacks and the occasional miss, it actually whittles us all the way down to 5 HP before we take it down for a pretty narrow victory. After this, it's time for us to go ahead and go into Silph Co. Now, I don't think that we're going to need to go around and level up and grab all the vitamins, but in the event that we can't get past the Rival, at least we have some options. The other option, of course, is to go ahead and go to Blaine if needed, but I do want to, at the very least, make sure to grab the card, because we obviously need it, access to the bed, because we're probably going to need to take a nap, and then, after that, we can attempt that Rival fight. Inside Silph Co, the Rival sends out Pidgeot, and we go to Ice Beam, taking it to red as Pidgeot hits a pretty weak wing attack, then goes down. Venusaur is next, and we continue with Ice Beam, taking it to right about half as Razor Leaf connects for decent damage, and then another Ice Beam takes it out. Gyarados pops out, and Ice Beam is doing decent enough damage as Bite does a little. We swap to Bite to take it to half and flinch it, then Bite again as it uses Dragon Rage. We swap to Ice Beam and take it down, which is great, because another Dragon Rage would have taken us out. With the Growlithe, we can take it out in one shot, and then last up is Alakazam. We go first, bite it to yellow, flinch it, and then take it down. After a heal up, we go to Giovanni, and we immediately freeze his Nidorino, and then take it down with our next shot. With Nidoqueen, we take it to half, and Poison Sting barely tickles us as we swap to Ice Beam for the extra damage. But it survives in the end, but only Tail Whips us before it goes down. Last is Kangaskhan, and we take about a quarter of its health as Mega Punch barely touches us. We take it down to yellow and then knock it out to win the battle. After another quick heal up, it's actually time to go ahead and fight Sabrina. I think we'll be alright, honestly, given how specially bulky we are. But let's take a look. With Kadabra, we take it to red as Sabrina uses Future Sight, and then after that, we take it down after a heal up. Mr. Mime is next, and we tank the Future Sight and continue our Omnom Rampage as Mr. Mime Calm Minds. We take it to red as it hits Psybeam, and then Sabrina heals up as we take it down a few turns later, thankfully getting a flinch. Venomoth is out, and we swap our Ice Beam for it, and we take it to half as Psybeam does a little, and then we can take it out. Alakazam is our last Pokemon, and it's speedy as all get out, and it takes us to 51 HP as we take it to half. Another Psychic takes us all the way to 5 HP, lowers our special, but since it's not Gen 1, our special attack is not affected, and we take it down for a very narrow victory. That was close, but overall I think that went pretty well, and I think the next set of battles are also going to be pretty easy for us. Like I've said, I do try to write these as I go along, so as of right now, I'm not 100% sure how the Lorelei fight will go, but given the fact that we have no big super effective moves against her, I can see that being an issue. Other than that, I think the Elite Four will be a sweep. Also, thank you all for watching if you made it this far. To be completely transparent, I was getting a little flustered with YouTube content. In back-to-back weeks, I had videos that, despite having a typical number of likes, for whatever reason did not get over 100 views, and I haven't had views like that since I first started challenges almost 2 years ago. At the end of the day, I still enjoyed them, but it let me know to start uploading on a different day, and because of that, my views started coming back. I know it's silly to worry, but without being partner yet, little setbacks like that can be hard to work around, especially when watch hours are so huge in the beginning. But my head is on straight, we're back in the game, and let's go ahead and go to Blaine. Blaine opens with Growlithe, and we start with Bubble Beam, taking it down in one shot. Ponyta's out, and we continue the process, taking it down in one go. Next out is Rapidash, and we take it to red as Fire Blast connects for 20 damage. Blaine does end up healing up, and we take it to low yellow, and then Blaine heals again. 2 more hits, and we can take it out. Last up is Arcanine, and Bubble Beam takes it to a little under half, and Fire Blast connects for a bit of damage before it goes down to win the battle. And then, with that, we deny the Sevi Islands quest because that seems like a huge waste of time since I literally have no reason to go there, and head to Giovanni. Giovanni starts with Rhyhorn, and it's slow, has the special defense of Macaroni Art, so it goes down. Dugtrio is next, and we actually outspeed it and knock it out too. Nidoqueen is next, and we take it to yellow as Earthquake does some decent damage before we knock it out. The King is out, and we take it to red, and Earthquake hits us to just below half as Giovanni heals up. We take it out a few turns later, thankfully. The next Rhyhorn is out, and we use another Bubble Beam to knock it out, and that's that. One more battle before the Elite Four. Pidgeotta's first, and we take it to red as it hits us once before going down. Venusaur goes to not quite half, uses Growth, then gets frozen and knocked out. Rhyhorn is probably always going to be a one-shot, despite being the absolute monster that destroyed me in my Magnemite run. The Gyarados and I trade attacks back and forth for a while, but ultimately it ends up going down. Growlithe is a one-shot, and then due to Alakazam having access to Disable, we do have to swap between attacks, Psychic taking us all the way down to 66 HP, before it goes down to win us the battle. Admittedly, this did take a few attempts due to Venusaur and Gyarados needing more than one shot to take it out, but overall, it was a simple battle, just needed the luck to line up properly. Alright, so we officially have some travel and shopping ahead of us because we're in the final stretch of the game. Whether they're legendaries or even just Pokemon from future generations, I love bringing them into this game. It's a shorter game, it's balanced enough, and it also allows me to get content out to you. Granted, this was also the first remake that I ever played, so it definitely holds a special place in my nostalgia heart. If you want to see me do Alpha Sapphire over Emerald, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I always want to make sure that the content that I do is tailor-made for y'all, and I don't think that Alpha Sapphire did add too much more to the game. But, without further ado, let's take a look and see how the battle against Lorelei goes. We start this battle, and our level is on par with Dugong, and we've learned Iron Tail in replacement of Ice Beam for now. Surf is replacing Bubble Beam since it's pretty much outlived its usefulness in regards to strength. We also replaced Gust with Return since it's a vastly more powerful move. So, we open up with Iron Tail, dealing solid damage as we take some decent hits, and by the time we knock it out, we're actually down to 68 HP. Cloyster isn't too difficult to deal with, but where it stalls out so much, the hail actually chips away more of our health than what it does, so it can take us to low enough HP that Slowbro, even though we hit it hard, is able to go ahead and knock us out. Our losing attempts actually takes us all the way to 65, which overall isn't too bad at the end of the day. The main issue that we're finding is that her Pokemon are doing enough damage through the hail and their attacks that they just end up whittling us down, It's not a tremendous loss by any means, but it would require some insane amounts of luck to actually be able to win. So now, Dugong goes to red with a critical hit return and hits us with Ice Beam. We go ahead and continue with the returns, taking it down not too long after that. Cloyster goes to below half with Surf and then goes down the next turn. With Slowbro, we bite it as it sets up Calm Mind, then take it to red before we take it out. With Jinx, we take it to yellow. It uses Ice Punch and then Lorelei heals up before we take it down 2 turns later. Lapras is last, and it's just trading attacks back and forth. But the moment that it paralyzes me, I feel like we're going to have another lost attempt. But Body Slam leaves us alive with 5 HP, and we take it out, and that's that. On to Bruno. Bruno starts with Onyx, and we open with Surf to take it down in one shot. Next up is Hitmonchan, and we Surf again, mostly to test damage, and it takes it below half. We then swap to Return, knocking it out next turn. Hitmonlee is next, so we swap back to Surf, taking it below half as Mega Kick connects. We swap to Return, and that knocks it out. Machamp is the next one, and we use Surf for about half damage as it uses Scary Face, and the Berry heals it up just a little bit. We swap to Return, mostly not wanting to put it into healing range, and Cross Chop hits for solid damage, but since the Return didn't put it into healing range, after his next Cross Chop misses, we can use Surf for the stab damage and knock it out. He has one more Onyx that doesn't do much of anything, and after that we can take it out to win a fairly simple battle. Alright, time for Agatha. Gengar is first and Bite flinches it, then knocks it out, and Golbat goes down in one Ice Beam, but it does hit us before doing so. Arbok uses some Sludge Bombs that do solid damage before it goes down. The next Gengar goes down to 2 bites, and while the Haunter puts us to sleep, it's more focused on using Mean Look than actually attacking, so when we wake up, we can just take it down without too much of an issue, winning us the battle. Alright, time to go to Lance. With Lance, he starts with Gyarados and it goes down in a few Ice Beams. After that, the 2 Dragonair are both kind enough to go down in 1 Ice Beam each. Dragonite goes down to 1 Ice Beam as well, and then with Aerodactyl, we take it to red. It uses Mean Look for whatever reason. Lance heals, and then we get a high roll on the damage to knock it out in one go. Alright, champion time. Pidgeot is first, and we use Ice Beam to take it below half as it uses Sand Attack, but we can take it down next turn. With Venusaur, we take it to about half as it gathers Sunlight, and then we take it down. Alakazam is next, and Psychic does solid damage, but we take it to about half with Bite, and then knock it out in what I'm assuming was a speed tie. Rhydon is a one-shot, and Gyarados uses Dragon Rage. For whatever reason, it switches to Thrash, doing consistently less damage, and when we take it down, our HP is nice, but also not nice. Arcanine uses Extreme Speed, and that takes us down to 40 HP, but we managed to take it down in 1 Surf to win the battle. Alright, I had a lot of fun with that run, and I hope that you did too. We'll definitely be bringing in more legendaries as time goes on because it does make for a fun run. Looking at the runs I've done so far, I've actually done a good portion of the first generation first form Pokemon, and we'll definitely be working on reruns soon. I did decide to continue working on new runs and release the redos of prior runs when I have time to create the extra content, because since we know that we can beat those, to a degree, it almost feels like recycling content, and I definitely don't want to do that. But I have started working on the Bulbasaur run again, and on stream, I've also started working on a Pinsir run, so I have a lot of videos that I'm starting. I just haven't gotten very far in. Pinsir, I'm just going to put the moveset up here, because Pinsir's level up moveset and what it can actually learn is going to be awful, so I can already tell you that Agatha and Lance are going to be nightmares. But I don't want to ramble on too much longer than I've already had. I've got a Halloween run that I'm starting to get mapped out as well, even though I think that that's going to fall on a day that I typically upload. But, as always, if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, hit the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.